I'm Nick Tisco. You're watching More Than a Hobby series, and welcome to North Shore BJJ in Newquay.
Inspires you to start jiu-jitsu?
I think like a lot of people, I watched a bit of MMA. I was interested in it. I wanted to get into martial arts and learn a bit more about fighting, and all I understood was fighting on the feet, kicking and punching, and then saw these fights going to the ground, and I was kind of like, oh, well, you know what they're doing, and then the commentator's like, oh yeah, look, and he's using his jiu-jitsu, and he's got him in a Kimura, and I'm sort of lost in my head going, what? And then and he gets a submission, and I'm like, wow, my mind's been blown straight away. So yeah, that was it really.
How old were you when you started?
I was 30 when I started, and after 20 years of surfing, I wanted to add something else to balance things out a little bit.
Amazing. It's quite late then, really, to start.
I think it's 30s late to start jiu-jitsu, but I think it's also quite normal. But it's late when you meet people that start younger. I'm just jealous, you know?
Yeah.
Not necessarily at kids' age. I think that if you do 10 years of a sport, you can burn out after that. So 10 years of jiu-jitsu as an adult, you could get to black belt. If you did 10 years as a kid, you might burn out way before you got there.
How accessible was jiu-jitsu when you started?
I started jiu-jitsu. I was Googling it, and I couldn't find the club where they just said, oh, this is Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, and that's what I was looking for. And so I started almost thinking I was going to have to do a Gracie garage, and the Gracie University thing, and then thankfully I found a gym locally, found Concept Gym, and they had MMA grappling, and then they had a no-gi class. So I went to the Tuesday MMA grappling. Got shown some really cool things, and I was like, all right, nice one. And then it was like, right, sparring. So they lined like 8 of us up facing each other, and it was like, right, yeah, go put the timer on, and then go for it, sparring. And I'd never done any grappling, and that was my introduction, and I just got mauled for about half an hour or so, but I loved it. And then I found a jiu-jitsu club where they wore the gi and they did all of that, and I went and joined in there. But I also, right at the beginning, after about 3 months of doing the no-gi and MMA grappling, I went up to London to Roger Gracie Academy and trained in the gi. Found out I knew nothing. After my 3 months of scrapping, I thought I knew stuff, and I just didn't. In the white belt fundamental class, I just didn't know anything. People would tie me up, turning me over, mounting me, and they weren't hurting me. I just couldn't do anything about it, even though I was physically very strong and fit at the time, but I couldn't do anything about it. I realised I didn't know anything. So the gi was the key for me to really learn a lot of things. I still love no gi as well, but it showed me that I didn't know anything. So yeah, that was my introduction.
So you're first degree black belt now. How long did it take for you to get to a black belt?
I got to black belt in about 8 years, 8.5 maybe, which is pretty good going, but
So 8.5 years, sorry to interrupt, 8.5 years, and how many on average do you think sessions you spent per week?
I had times where I had sometimes going 7 days a week. I didn't do it the whole time like that. Initially it was like 2 to 3, and then when I got to blue belt, I was going, much more, like 4 or 5 times, and then towards the end of blue belt, 7 days a week. If I could, I would go, and sometimes twice a day. And then when I was a purple belt, I think this is what really helped accelerate things for me anyway, was inadvertently got into teaching, helping classes, and then doing a bit more, and then it just suddenly ballooned, and I was like, well, I just suddenly had to do lots of teaching, but actually really helped me. So I was competing every year as well in some good tournaments, and then before I knew it, I was at the other end at black belt at the beginning, basically. Black belt's the beginning. Maintain my pressure, looking for the clock or the ref or scoreboard or whatever it is. Look, okay, and now I'm gonna, on this side that I've got his shoulder and his head, I'm gonna
Okay, I'm going to bring my knee up towards his head. My left knee is going to go up towards his head, and then I'll pass over the top of his head with my elbow. So I basically got all his means of escape in this arm gone. Okay.
I'd been a coach in surfing anyway for years at that point. Like, I don't know, like 10 years surf coaching at that point. And so I was comfortable teaching things to people, and I was asked to help out a little bit, so I did. And then I was encouraged to set up a club with my teacher at the time. And it didn't work out with him and with that partnership for a number of reasons, which I won't go into. But so we separated, but I was then left with a small club, which is what became North Shore. And we were under Gracie Baha before that. So then it became North Shore, and I had a handful of people, and we had this place that I was the one paying the bills on it, so I had it. I had to use it, had to pay for it. And I wanted to do jiu-jitsu, and I wasn't able to do it with the other guy anymore. So suddenly I had a club, and I was teaching. And it wasn't my plan. My plan wasn't to have my own club and teach. Originally, the plan was I would just go in with this other guy and help him have a place, and I would be involved and I would be an assistant. It wasn't meant to be my club to do that, but it just happened. And then, so I just, took the responsibility really to keep it going and keep jiu-jitsu growing in Newquay. And that's how North Shore really started.
Amazing. Who is your coach, and where does North Shore's heritage come under?
So I'm fortunate that I train under Kev Capel, and he is a black belt under Roger Gracie. He's very well respected in the jiu-jitsu community and martial art community. He's got a history of boxing. He's got a military career. He was a fireman. He's an all-round good guy. I've never heard a bad word said about him. And he stood by me. I've actually known him since 2010, since the first year I started jiu-jitsu. So that's who I'm under, and that's the lineage. So the lineage is Roger Gracie, Kev Capel, me, and then that's who my students are grading under. And so we're fortunate within that network that we've got really good clubs to go to. With Kev is in Aylesbury, and then with Roger in London, and numerous other RGA affiliates that we could be going to. I mean, the community is generally welcoming anyway, but this is a very good lineage to be involved in.
Pull in like that, okay, would work. You know how to do it, okay? In the sport of jiu-jitsu. Self-defense, you already want. Okay, but also, to be honest, like what I want to do, probably actually a little bit better, but I'm going to dominate the hand completely. All principle of having a guard as well is that I'm ready to break his posture using my legs. Okay, so let the legs are break. Even if you can reach, you want to get the kicks up there. You want to get the leg up. We'll see it.
So our timetable is really busy. We've got 6 days a week for adults and kids. We've got mixtures of levels. So it starts on a Monday, very busy from 4 o'clock till 6 o'clock with kids. And then we'll go 6 p.m. We've got beginner class. We do 2 beginner classes a week, Monday and Wednesday at 6 p.m. So it's really good that they're just beginners and white belts just have their own space together. And it's been getting pretty busy, and they've been developing really well. And then we have all levels on a Monday at 7 p.m. and Tuesday at 7 p.m. And that's always followed by sparring as well. So you have an hour class, an hour sparring. Wednesday we have the ladies at 7:30. They have their own class, and that's really helped. That's been enormous because now we've got probably 20 women that are training. And they're not limited to that at all, of course. It's just a place where they can go to figure out a little bit more about jiu-jitsu, get to spar with people who are their same size. If they have any concerns or worries about what it is before they go in the mixed class, it's a great place to start. And then they meet each other, encourage each other, and it's shown and proven. Because, as I said, about 20 people in our club membership are women. So it's fantastic. And then Thursday is our no-gi day. We've got 8 a.m. in the morning, and then we've got 7 p.m. in the evening. Friday is advanced class / competition training. So the people that want to do a little bit more, want to get out and compete and test themselves, that's a good class to get in. And then on Saturday we get kids. We've got an all levels class, and then we've got more open mat. So it's loads of training on offer. We've got mornings, we've got evenings, and 6 days a week. It's fantastic.
Do you have coaches under you?
We've got a brown belt, Alex, who teaches an all levels class, and then my wife as well, who is a purple belt and teaches the ladies. She's been training for about 10 years, and that's 10 years, and she's at purple belt. She's also had a child in that time who's now 2, so within that, yeah, so she's fantastic as well, and she's competed extensively. She's got a lot of experience, and she's really a great person to lead the women's as well. One of the main people that's really helped me, helped push me to get the doors open here. He actually found this unit for us to be in. Is Rene, the big South African purple belt. He's our enforcer, biggest guy on the mat, one of the most technical guys on the mat, and he's a purple belt under Andy Roberts originally, and then he moved to Cornwall. So he helped me find the club, the unit. He really pushed me to get things right and set it up, and he teaches beginners class for us as well, and he'll jump in to help out in any of the classes if I need him to.
What impact have you seen that Jiu-Jitsu has on your members?
I think coming in and having a good roll around, getting hold of somebody, learning about dealing with uncomfortable situations, and then just having some tough sparring helps people to burn off steam. I think there's a lot of pressures in life. I think there's a lot of stuff thrust in our face, with technology and social media and stuff, and you come in here and do some jiu-jitsu and get sweaty and wrestle each other a little bit, and you get to forget about all of those things and just do something that's very real. You can't AI this. It's either get on the mat and get hold of somebody, or not. And I think whatever the pressures you're dealing with, this is a really good way to try to balance it out. And I think that's generally what I get. There's definitely a few people I can think of in the club who, I've had some good, quite deep conversations with about stuff that's going on in their life. And they tell me, that this has been the thing that really helps them out, helps them get through stuff. I felt that as well in other areas of my life when I've gone through extreme changes personally and with business and stuff like that, the lessons that jiu-jitsu gives you, dealing with being uncomfortable, being patient, fighting your way out of a tough situation, persevering, pushing forward, trying to get a win here, and that gives you a bit of tenacity when you're back in the real world, if you call it that. So I think that's how it benefits people, that the members outside of training.
What are your greatest achievements in the sport?
In the sport of jiu-jitsu?
Correct.
I'd say my greatest achievement is just creating this club and seeing through some of the really tricky times, because, as I say, the club grew out of nowhere. It wasn't meant to sort of happen, and it just kind of happened. And I took the responsibility to keep it going. And there were times where we would have just 2 people on the mat, and that's quite disheartening, especially when you start to really invest time and energy into planning classes and things like that. And only a couple of people come, and you're looking for an atmosphere and to create a team. But if you persevering through that, that's why it's such an achievement. And now to what we've got going on now, where there's frequently 20 or more people in a class, that to me is a huge achievement. And having that impact on people, where they, creating a place where people feel like it's their home, it's their club, it's somewhere that they want to be, it's their sanctuary, is even a word that's been used recently. So what a great achievement that is. And then competitively, I went to European Championships about 7 years in a row, at different belt levels, purple, brown and black. And I just think every time just stepping on the mat is a great achievement to take yourself off somewhere into the unknown. You don't know what you're going to be dealt. You don't know what those competitors are going to be like. And really it just comes back to just being jiu-jitsu at the end of the day. You always reflect on it afterwards, win or lose, and go, well, that was just jiu-jitsu, but that's what you love. So
how are you learning to like design new things to coach?
I don't think that there's too much to design in the way of, like, you know, you're not going to reinvent much jiu-jitsu. Most of the techniques have been done. Even sometimes you hear about something and that's new and somebody pulled it off in a competition and it turns out, well, the old judo guys were doing it anyway. Sometimes I think as well on delivering classes, less is more. When people get overwhelmed and they just zone out. If you know, not every class in your club should be a seminar. If you go to a seminar with somebody special and they've got like a sequence of techniques that they want to do, yeah, please show me all of them and I'll try and write this down and remember it. But you can't operate like that every time you go to jiu-jitsu. If I was to show 10 or 12 variations of something every time, people wouldn't remember anyway. So it's really finding ways to engage with the people that you have. That's what I think about. And then find interesting ways to teach the things I know are going to work.
So do you work full-time alongside running this business?
Yeah, I've just got a new job, but I was, for 18 years, I was surf coaching. So right up until September, end of August last year, I'd been running my own surf school business as well as teaching jiu-jitsu. So I'd go out and do 3 surf lessons a day, then come in training in the evening, and then scrap it out for a couple of hours. That was pretty cool for a while. Takes its toll. And then just recently, I've been doing recruitment, cybersecurity. So no real connection, although there's some people in cybersecurity that I know that finding relationship between grappling and cybersecurity. But yeah, that's what I do. And actually, in the corner of the club, we've got a desk set up so I can actually work within the club because I work remotely. So work within the club and then finish work and jump on the mat or have a lunch hour on the mat. And my boss, who I work very closely with down here in Newquay, he also trains with us as well. So that's pretty cool.
Advice would you have for anyone wanting to start their own martial arts gym?
Yeah. if you're going to start a martial art club, especially Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, I just think if you love it enough and you're willing to just keep investing time and to some degree money, and eventually it's going to pay off. But it certainly isn't going to be like a big money maker. You know, it's different for some of these famous guys that have been, you know, multiple world champions. Maybe they base themselves in a city, but those good cities are getting pretty saturated with high-level guys, so it'd be pretty hard and very expensive to set up, no doubt. But I think just perseverance really is the biggest thing. Be organised, show up on time, have a curriculum that that you're happy with, that reflects you. Don't just get all the instructional DVDs or whatever and then just watch them and copy them because it's not you. And eventually people will know, and they can just watch it themselves. So why have you watch it? And that's a pet hate, to be honest. So it's fine to have, if you're going to have a club and you're going to teach people, it's fine to pick up details from those kind of things, but you're certainly not going to write your whole curriculum based on it, because unless it is what you do. So yeah, just good structure, just look after people. I think looking after people is probably the most important thing.
Where can people find your gym online?
So looking up northshorebjj.uk, that's our website. And then on Instagram, North Shore Jiu-Jitsu. And then just look it up on Facebook. There's a couple in other places in the world that's the same name, but obviously we're Newquay, Cornwall.